Hello everybody and welcome to question 17 of the question and answer series. This is quite an important question to answer really, but I will first off read out the question and give my opinion on it. So, is there an ideal time to play an instrument when you're at the height of your powers and ability? If so, what time of day is that generally speaking? Is it okay to not be a morning person? So first of all, in answer to the last part of the question, it's absolutely okay to not be a morning person. Basically, my entire life as a music tutor mostly revolves around my working day being from 4 p.m. onwards in the day. I have some slightly earlier lessons, occasional times in the week, but a lot of my work revolves around those times. Some days I'm lucky enough to finish by sort of 5:30, 6:00, 7:00. And then on a Friday evening, I do work right until 11 p.m. because of time zones and things. So I work with a couple of students over in Mexico and Canada, and that's a more appropriate time to teach them. So my Friday working day admittedly starts a bit later than 4, but finishes at 11 now. Being a part-time master's student as well, I obviously work with my time around that. So I do find mornings a struggle. I'm saying this as I've been working since 9:30 this morning and got a very long day ahead, but it is what it is and I've got things to do. Now, as a child, well, older child, teenager, whatever you want to call it, because of being in my GCSE years, my school didn't want me having music lessons during my timetabled school lessons. So I had to either have them at break time, lunchtime, etc. But I had other things going on at lunchtime, and break time wasn't actually long enough to have the piano lesson in, so I'd still end up missing some of my lessons. So they decided the best time for me to have my piano lessons was at 8:40 in the morning, which is, well, before school starts, but kind of at the start of school, and it was just because I had a lesson that didn't count as a GCSE at that time of that day of the week. Now, 8:40 in the morning for me was just a ridiculous time to play piano. Whilst I did get to school very early due to my mum working and having to travel, it was still a very early time for me to engage my brain in that sort of way. I could sit and play piano in the music room from whenever I arrived at school, and that would be okay, but actually sitting in a lesson and having to play the exam pieces I was doing at that time and whatever else I was doing in that lesson was really struggling for me. I just didn't like it. But I stuck it out because I still really liked playing piano, and I knew that's what I had to do to carry on playing and get my exams done and things. But yeah, now I've grown up, I've had generally more experience playing at lots of different hours, like, starting that early, and then whilst being at university, having performances. But I've done some gigs that haven't finished until 2 a.m, so I've been playing right until that time, after having a day of uni beforehand often as well. But when it's for money, it kind of works a bit different. You feel a bit better about doing it. But yeah, it's different, and every experience is different. Even week to week, when I had pretty much the same day timetable, I would find my experiences different because some weeks I'd be more tired than others. Sometimes even if the weather's a bit rubbish, or even if the weather's really good, it actually can have a bit of an impact on you because you don't want to be stuck in a room. You want to be outside enjoying the sun and things like that. One of the days in particular I used to find very tricky actually whilst at uni was actually a Wednesday when I had this band rehearsal from 7 until 9 at night. Now, on a standalone, that probably would have actually been okay, but actually what happened with my Wednesdays was I would have work to do in the morning, so I get to uni for about 9 a.m. Again, not particularly being a morning person all the time doesn't help with that. Then we'd have what was a lunchtime concert in the middle of the day. Sometimes I'd be performing in it, sometimes not, but I'd still have to attend and watch. And then there'd be more work in the afternoon, probably a couple of ensembles in there too. And then at 4 o'clock I would teach, I think, 4 or 5 students. Luckily local to the university, and I lived very close anyway, but I had to still walk between those places and I still had to teach these children. And then I would finish at 6:30 and I would need some food, and then I had to be at my rehearsal for 7. And I couldn't cook any food. I had no time to cook. Sometimes I would be able to nip back home and have some leftovers, but most of the time it's just a sandwich from the local co-op shop, and then nip down to university, still be late to the band rehearsal, and then I'd have to sit and play, and it wasn't even known repertoire most of the time. It was original music, so I actually had to put my own spin on things and give my own voiceover and say that I think this would sound cool or whatever, and it made it just very tricky. I got to the point where I just grew out of loving the rehearsals, actually. So that's something to be mindful of, how things fit in your day, and what they are. So, but yeah, now I'm here most of the time in this flat, and I work from home. I mostly practice between, say, the hours of 11 a.m. and 7 p.m, because I often practice between students if I've got a big enough gap, or just in the day when I feel like it, if I'm honest. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Cheers, bye.